Keanu Reeves was handcuffed on live television, accused of spreading misinformation, and dragged off stage before 15 million viewers. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel for exclusive updates on this explosive story. In a shocking moment broadcast to 15 million viewers, Keanu Reeves was handcuffed and led off stage like a criminal, his face calm but his eyes blazing with intensity. The host Bill Maher stayed stone-faced. The cameras kept rolling. The world watched as one of Hollywood's most cherished figures was publicly humiliated, accused of spreading misinformation, and silenced during what was meant to be a calm discussion about freedom. The studio fell silent, the audience gasping not at Keanu's words but at the terrifying speed of the escalation. No warning, no clear justification, just raw power on display. Unknown to the host and producers, Keanu had anticipated every move. This was no mere ambush. It was a trap, but not for him, for them. Hours before the show, Keanu's legal team quietly filed a document in the federal system, a move later hailed as the most brilliant legal checkmate in modern broadcast history. To grasp how this moment, the handcuffs, the scandal, the collapse of a media empire unfolded, we must rewind 24 hours. An invitation landed in Keanu's inbox, laced with flattery. Bill Maher wanted a candid talk about truth in today's world. The pitch was enticing, a major platform to discuss philosophy, freedom, and storytelling's role in society. Keanu, ever thoughtful, agreed. Unbeknownst to him, producers were plotting a segment designed not for dialogue but for destruction. Leaked emails later revealed their plan: neutralize, trap, and shift public perception. This was no conversation. It was a takedown. As Keanu stepped onto the stage, the real show was not what viewers saw, but what they were meant to believe. The first 10 minutes were friendly, even light. Maher teased Keanu's long hair, quiet demeanor, and famed politeness, but tension simmered beneath the surface. Then came the pivot. Maher, smiling, said, "Some say your recent comments on government control and spiritual freedom are reckless. What do you say to those who think you're promoting dangerous ideas?" Keanu responded calmly, speaking of personal autonomy, the right to question, and the human spirit. But as he spoke, the audio feed flickered. Static hit viewers' screens at home. A banner flashed, "Technical difficulties." The studio audience grew restless. Then Keanu's microphone went dead. He tapped it, no sound. Maher smirked, saying, half laughing, "Looks like the universe is trying to tell you something." Keanu tilted his head, smiled, and replied, "No, but mine still works." In a stunning move, he revealed a personal lapel microphone still running, still recording, active the entire time. The atmosphere shifted. The audience felt it. Maher's eyes narrowed, his smirk gone. Security appeared at the stage's edge. A producer whispered into Maher's earpiece. Then came the announcement, delivered with forced calm. "Due to violations of federal broadcast standards, our guest will be removed from the stage." Two men approached Keanu. This was no policy dispute. It was a calculated attempt to disgrace a man known for grace. The only shield against this injustice was a document filed 6 hours earlier in a federal database. What would you do in Keanu's place? Silenced on live television, accused, humiliated, and dragged away without a voice, would you fight back? Or, like Keanu, play the long game, letting truth erupt at the perfect moment? If this ignites you, comment the number 9 now to show you believe truth should never be shackled. As security closed in, Keanu stood slowly, adjusted his black blazer with poise, and nodded to the audience, signaling this was not the end. It was the spark. Backstage, the control room spiraled into chaos. Producers barked into headsets, switching camera angles to shape the narrative. Maher leaned back, feigning calm, but sweat at his temple betrayed fear not of Keanu, but of what he might still hold. Keanu was no mere actor. He was a strategist wielding silence as power. Watching from the wings was Amelia Hart, a former federal prosecutor turned media rights attorney and Keanu's lead counsel. As guards reached for Keanu's arms, Amelia stepped forward, handing them a folded document. She stated, "This is a binding federal stay filed under the First Amendment Protection Clause Section 341C. It prohibits any enforced removal, detainment, or suppression of speech not previously reviewed by a court of law. The guards froze. The audience hushed. Maher scoffed. That's not real. But Amelia approached a judge's clerk brought by Keanu's team for this exact scenario. The clerk reviewed the stamped document and declared, "She's right. Enforcement is blocked immediately." A silence swept the set. Keanu turned to the audience, not the cameras or host, and said, "I came here for a conversation. I wasn't expecting to be silenced, but I was ready." When power feels threatened by truth, it doesn't argue. It attacks. The room felt electric, a system cracking in real time. Keanu continued, "I've been called too quiet, that I don't fight back enough. But silence is not weakness. Silence is control, and control is what you lose when truth enters the room." Maher tried to recover, chuckling nervously. "Come on, Keanu, you're not a martyr. You're a movie star. Don't pretend you're fighting for the people." Keanu's gaze was steady, his patience formidable. "That's where you're wrong, Bill. I'm not fighting for me. I'm fighting for the 17-year-old kid mocked in school for asking tough questions, the single mom told to sit down when she speaks up, the nurse fired for revealing hospital conditions. I have a voice, and tonight I'll use it." Amelia signaled the production booth. A team member inserted a USB drive and the stage's big screen lit up. A video timestamped 2 hours before the show showed Maher in the green room with producers mocking Keanu. "We're going to roast him, let him ramble about philosophy, then hit him with the federal guy. Make him look like a paranoid recluse. The audience will eat it up." The studio erupted with gasps, murmurs, and boos. Maher's face paled, his smirk vanished. The audience turned against him, seeing undeniable proof. Keanu said nothing. The truth spoke for itself. The question was not about legality, but decency, trust, and how far power would go to silence inconvenient voices, and how dangerous it was when those voices were prepared. Was Keanu set up? Was this a failed takedown or a wake-up call for weaponized platforms? Comment your thoughts. If this moment gripped you, type 9 to join those who believe in truth, even when it's tough. After Keanu's words, a profound silence fell, crushing pretense. Maher, outmaneuvered on his own stage, sat exposed. As the studio manager tried to call a break, the executive producer's voice echoed over the intercom. "Let it roll. Don't cut. Legal's watching." Maher's panic showed rapid blinks, a twitching jaw. "You've had your moment, Keanu," he said, voice cracking. "You can't accuse us of setting you up. We're a broadcast institution with standards." Keanu, hands folded, eyes steady, stayed seated. Amelia raised a hand. "Bill, want me to read your team's production call transcript from this morning. The one where you called tonight's segment Operation Ice Bath, saying, 'Let's hit him hard on air. Make him stumble. Make him look confused. He'll snap or walk off. Either way we win.'" The room chilled. Audience members pulled out phones, hashtags like Keanu set up broadcast trap and truth versus power trending in real time. Maher snapped. "This is out of context. Everyone plans segments." Keanu stood controlled and said, "You're a gatekeeper who's forgotten your words' weight. People come here for debated ideas, not silenced ones. You stage ambushes, but when your target is prepared, you're exposed." The screen lit up again with a whistleblower's leaked clip from a rehearsal showing stand-ins mimicking Keanu's responses while producers practiced cutting him off subtly. The audience gasped. This was no debate, but a scripted performance, its mask now off. Then a production assistant, Laya, about 24, stood nervously from the audience, tablet in hand. "I'm sorry," she said, voice trembling, "but there's more. They told us to prepare 2 segment versions, one if he walks off, one if he stays and self-destructs. They had graphics ready like it was scripted." Keanu gave her a grateful look. She sat eyes wide, realizing her impact. The narrative collapsed. Keanu addressed Maher with resolve. "You tried turning a conversation into a spectacle. People are tired of manipulation, of being told what to think, who to trust, what to fear. Tonight wasn't about me, but every person shamed for questioning." Maher, hands folded, eyes blank, couldn't respond. The control room fell silent. No cuts, just exposure. Keanu faced the audience and cameras. I expected an attack, but found a moment where the curtain fell. Let's make this more than a headline. If you believe ideas should be challenged, not censored like this video. If truth matters, even when uncomfortable, comment 9 now. Show them we're watching. The aftermath was no discussion, but an implosion. Maher, once the moment's master, sat motionless as the audience became witnesses to a reckoning. His stage, built on sarcasm and edited gotcha moments, slipped away. Amelia stepped forward with another document stating, "This is a formal defamation liability notice. Any continued attempt to paint Mr. Reeves as a threat to discourse will face full legal consequences. This is time-stamped, verified, and archived by independent observers." Maher mumbled, "Are we really doing this to himself?" His moment lost. Outside, social media erupted. Clips spread hashtags like Keanu Truth and Free Speech Setup, topped charts in 20 minutes. Commentators called it a cultural turning point. Others marveled at the backfired takedown. Viewers watched not for entertainment, but for justice unfolding. A producer whispered to Maher, caught by a microphone, "We've lost 3 sponsors this segment alone." The audience gasped, the third twist landing. Money had spoken and it left. Keanu, calm, told Maher, "You tried to bury me, built a trap from assumptions fueled by arrogance, and forgot truth doesn't need a microphone. It echoes. This isn't about me, but how fast we accept silencing those who think differently. How platforms shame, not share ideas. Without preparation, this would have been another hit job masked as journalism. We were ready, and we won't let this become normal." The screen showed live footage of protesters outside holding signs. "Let him speak. We stand with Keanu, cancel culture." Crowds grew, some chanting, others standing silently with candles. A divided nation united in silence, louder than the show. Maher, eyes hollow, said, "Maybe you're right. Maybe I crossed the line." It was no growth, just survival, a plea to the public not to abandon him. Keanu didn't gloat. He nodded to Amelia, who said, "We're done. The show is over." The broadcast ended, not with a cut or clever sign-off, but with truth reclaiming the spotlight. As Keanu left, the audience stood applauding, reverently, saluting integrity. Outside, a movement formed. Media issued clarifications, analysts dissected Amelia's documents, students quoted Keanu online. A Hollywood actor did what politicians couldn't stand. Firm, stay calm, expose an unchecked machine. Was this a rare media misfire, or a glimpse of a system fearing authenticity it can't control? Share your thoughts. If you believe truth shouldn't be scripted, comment 9 now. This isn't just Keanu's story. It's about what could happen to us and whether we're ready. The next morning, the network's headquarters buzzed with panic. Email servers crashed from public backlash. Thousands demanded accountability, sponsors threatened to pull out, staff resigned. The Keanu clip was everywhere, reposted by celebrities, debated by scholars, used in classrooms as a free speech case study. In a quiet cafe, Keanu sat with Amelia and his strategist. No cameras, just coffee and resolve. Amelia said, "They thought they'd make you look unhinged. They exposed their playbook." Keanu replied, "We don't need to fight. Let truth unfold." That afternoon, Leia, the assistant producer, posted a 7-minute confession, raw and unedited, detailing the planned takedown instructions to humiliate Keanu and the hostile backstage culture. Her trembling voice said, "I knew it was wrong, but I lacked courage until last night." Her video hit 2 million views in 3 hours, turning Keanu's defense into a movement. People shared stories of being silenced, shamed, edited out of context. The hashtag "I stand with Keanu" became "Let us speak." The network scrambled. Maher was pulled from the next week's schedule. Leaked memos showed legal teams urging an apology. Keanu skipped press conferences. The public spoke for him. The network accused him of weaponizing virality, undermining media trust, even claiming he orchestrated the chaos for attention. Amelia countered, filing a motion to submit all backstage communications, emails, texts, documents to a third-party review board saying, "We have nothing to hide." They networks rarely expose internal records, but Keanu's team rewrote the rules. In the cafe, Keanu said, "It's not revenge, it's restoration. Dignity and integrity still matter." His words echoed beyond headlines. Universities assigned media accountability essays, podcasts dissected the event. Comedians who mocked him now defended him. Critics, even those disagreeing with his views, admitted the takedown failed, revealing something deeper. By week's end, Maher resigned via a terse press release, stepping away from hosting. The public ignored corporate words, having seen trust erode live. It wasn't about a job loss, but a betrayal of trust which doesn't return on schedule. Keanu didn't gloat, rejecting interviews, book deals, and monetization offers. He spoke at a high school about courage and listening, saying, "In truth, you don't shout or punch. You stand." A shaky student video of this went viral. Would you stand like Keanu, calm as your words were twisted? If this stirs you, comment 9. Keep this alive, because next time they silence someone, they'll recall what happened with Keanu. 2 weeks later, the failed takedown became a national reckoning. People discussed the system silencing manipulation and the quiet war on truth. Keanu stayed out of the spotlight, meeting small groups, listening more than speaking, focused on restoring a culture of dignity, disagreement, and dialogue. A final twist emerged: a leak from the network's legal department. Hundreds of emails, Slack messages, and memos from weeks before Keanu's appearance exposed the conspiracy's depth, greenlit by senior producers, PR strategists, and legal advisors. One thread read, "Draw him out. If he defends hard, he's unhinged. If quiet, he's evasive. We win either way." It wasn't a win. Public disgust fueled protests outside the network. A petition for accountability hit 1 million signatures in 48 hours. A class action lawsuit from viewers, not Keanu, claimed they were misled. One supporter said on camera, "This wasn't a debate show. It was an ambush, and we were lied to." Maher broke his silence in a short pre-recorded video, visibly shaken. "I thought I was challenging hypocrisy, but I became it. Ego drove me, and I weaponized public trust. Some saw sincerity, but for most, it was too late. Damage to his image and media's trust was set." Keanu made one appearance, not on a talk show, but a non-profit's live talk in an empty theater with 10 citizens asking questions. He said, "I wasn't brave for having a microphone, but for being ready to lose it. Courage isn't being right, but honest, even at high cost. I stood because too many are silenced for questioning. If we allow that, we don't just lose freedom, we surrender our soul." The clip hit 20 million views in 3 days, not for drama, but for its raw truth, rare in a noisy world. Amelia received a letter from retired journalist Margaret Rains. A Maher show viewer since its start, "I thought power belonged to the loudest voice. You showed it's with the quietest strength." This legacy grew not in headlines, but in hearts. What would you do if cameras turned on you, your microphone cut? Would you stay silent or be ready like Keanu, patient, prepared, rooted deeper than applause? If you want more voices like his, unafraid to speak when it counts, like this video. If truth belongs to the principled, not the powerful, comment 9. This story didn't end with the cameras, it's starting, and your chapter awaits. Months later, that night's echoes grew. A scandal became a cultural shift, no longer about celebrity or media, but a question at kitchen tables, classrooms, courtrooms. What would I do if silenced networks, restructured PR firms, rewrote crisis plans? Universities launched Keanu Effect seminars. Politicians couldn't ignore it. Keanu's defiance became an integrity blueprint. He stayed out of the spotlight, no interviews, no deals, no memoir, walking away gracefully. But his absence wasn't silence, it was strategy. He built a platform, the table, a digital public square where anyone could speak, be heard, and engage without manipulation. Fear. Disagreement didn't mean disrespect. Questions were welcomed. Within weeks, it had over 1 million participants, not followers. Reporters called it Keanu's media company. He corrected, "It's not mine, it's ours." When truth becomes a commodity, we lose its defense. These words sat on the table's homepage under a hand-drawn open chair. Maher vanished from the mainstream, a symbol of cultural confrontation's collapse. Paparazzi spotted him in Santa Monica, head down. Some pitied, others said it was overdue. Keanu asked privately about Maher shocked his circle. "I hope he's healing. When you build a life tearing others down, you forget how to live when it stops." His gift wasn't resistance, but forgiveness, turning a viral moment into a moral revolution. High schools held table-inspired dialogue nights, students discussing issues without phones or mockery fear. Veterans, immigrants, and teachers shared truths. A divided nation rediscovered listening not with hashtags or mic drops, but quiet remembrance that their voice wasn't algorithm-owned. Keanu stayed in the movement's background, watching it grow from conversations, not commands. He appeared on the table, sometimes anonymously asking questions, not arguing. The point wasn't his voice, but ours. In a table live Q&A, someone asked Keanu, "What's one thing you'd tell those afraid to speak?" He paused, then said, "Don't wait until you're silenced to know your voice mattered." Silence can be noble if chosen. If forced, it's a cage. This spread online not for catchiness, but truth, rare amid curated narratives. This story from spark to ember isn't just Keanu's, but yours. Your courage, right to speak, duty to stand with reason, not rage to rebuild better. If this moved, you felt truth rise above fear, like share and comment. 9. If the strongest stories are those we live out loud, your microphone awaits. What will you say? Like, share, and subscribe to stay locked into this unfolding saga. Comment 9 if truth drives you, and share your thoughts below to keep this fight for integrity alive.